In this video, we are going to be looking at the best drivers for every level of golfer. Where on this scale do you sit, and what does it mean for the type of driver that you want to use? I've grouped these drivers in golf handicap order.
But think of the scale as being more inconsistent with less control over strike and ball flight to having a good level of control over ball flight and strike.
First up, let's start at the low end of the scale, 0 to 5 handicap. So winning this section is the TaylorMade QI10 LS. The defining factors of this driver head is that it is compact. It looks like a player's club. It's simple, there's no huge frills on the top of the crown, and it sits slightly open, which many better players do prefer. It's also got 97% carbon coverage, which, to be honest, I think looks really good. So if you're a right-handed golfer and you're a better player, you just don't want to see this ball go left, which is why I like the fact that it is sat slightly open. But to be honest, it's not what's going on top that I actually really like about this driver, it's what's going on underneath. First of all, the loft sleeve on TaylorMade clubs, so the connection between the shaft and the club head. There's a lot more variability in this club as far as loft is concerned than some of the others out on the market. So I've got an 8-degree head here in the LS, and I can crank that all the way down to 6 if I'm feeling very confident that day. But they've also got this weight which has been put into what TaylorMade call a garage at the front that is kind of like sunken into the club head, apparently makes it a little bit more aerodynamic. But it also shifts weight forward in the club head. The center of gravity moves forward towards the face, and this makes the LS driver incredibly low spinning. So I'm not sure I've hit a driver in a long time that creates the conditions impact for such low spin. You see, if you can manufacture a driver that launches high but spins low, that's the recipe that you need for big booming shots down the fairway. Fingers crossed. But you need speed and you need precise ball striking to make it work. But when it does, that is what can happen. Oh my God, that is absolutely massive. And that is what is needed with this club. Precise ball striking. It is a beast. It's undeniably an absolute monster, but it is one that needs to be tamed. And if you're not confident, leave this in the category of the lower handicaps. Roll up and witness one of my favorite drivers of the past few years. The Wilson Dynapower Carbon Driver. I like this driver, but you know what I'd also like? For you to smash the thumbs up button on this video, and your next drive will definitely find the fairway. So this is also a lower spinning driver, but with a little bit more help on the off-center strikes. It's also cheaper than many of the major brands without losing out on performance. But above everything else, and not to be overly dismissive of the very talented Wilson engineers, this driver is simple. The carbon crown is not as widespread as the TaylorMade, and there's also a panel carboned up on the bottom. The weight saving is pushed into the back of the head with this 12-gram weight. Wilson also say with this driver that they've used their Dynapower AI, they've called it Dynapower, which I don't think is a very cute name for an AI, but that's just my opinion, to measure thousands of different strikes across the club face and use variable thickness. So when you strike it off center, power is still delivered in a similar manner as if you hit it from the center of the club. Now, you may say, well, Pete, that sounds very familiar. That sounds exactly like what Callaway have been shouting about for a few years. And yes, you will be absolutely correct. But it works. It really does. And generally for less cash than the big manufacturers. And get down into those comments below and let us know what your average type of score is over 18 holes. It will be great to know the types of golfers who are watching this video. We come to a tricky part of the scale from 10 to 18. You see, we still want a level of distance. We want control over ball flight, but we also need a bit more forgiveness now. Center strikes are not a guarantee. In other words, we need a driver that does absolutely everything. Enter the Ping G430 Max 10K. Cards on the table. I absolutely love this driver. It is in my own bag. Without a doubt, in my opinion, this is the best driver that Ping have ever made, but it's also very confusing. It's low spinning, but massively forgiving. It's a driver aimed at no particular golfers and every golfer at the same time. So I've popped it right here, accessible to everybody. So Ping have strapped a carbon arse on a titanium head behind these turbulators which help wind flow. The weight saved has gone into the back of the club to increase MOI and forgiveness. Now, I've got to be honest, I am on the fence about these turbulators still. However, a lot of people like them, and I can understand how they would frame the ball well at impact. As mentioned, this is in my bag, but I'm still trying to get used to it. So the 10K figure on this driver and on others released this year relates to MOI, it relates to forgiveness. And what this means is that this is one of the most forgiving drivers that Ping have ever made. But what makes no sense with this driver, and I've got to be honest, I'm not even sure Ping understand this, it's incredibly low spinning. Now, it's not as low spinning as the QI10 LS, but it's controllable enough that me, who swings the club relatively quickly and get good ball speed, it doesn't fly up and away into the wilderness. It's controllable, it's brilliant. You know what? It's just an absolutely fantastic driver. Well done, Ping. But you know what else would also be fantastic? Is subscribing to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. We are on the march towards 650,000 subscribers. It would be great to have you along for the ride and be part of the community. So we've moved on to the 18 to 25 handicap area of the scale, and it's right here where forgiveness is starting to become a little bit more of an important factor. We still want the club to look good behind the ball, but in reality, at this level, we're not going to be finding the center of the club as often. So forgiveness starts to increase in importance. It becomes a little bit more paramount. The driver I've chosen is the Dark Speed Max from Cobra. I must admit, this driver has grown on me. I wasn't sure at first, and I think the name is annoying. However, it feels very strong. Let me explain. You see, sometimes when you hit a driver, it can feel solid, it can feel a little bit softer, it can feel more powerful. The Cobra, it feels strong, it feels like the ball pops off the face with quite a lot of speed, and I'm not just talking from the center strikes. It also looks really good behind the ball. We also have a little bit of draw bias to help the ball move right to left in the air if you are a right-hander. So this is a presumption. The higher that a golf handicap goes, the more help that player is going to need to stop slicing the ball. Placing extra weight in the heel of a driver like this allows the club to turn a little bit more around that axis, more than otherwise would happen with a club which doesn't have a weight. These weights, they can also be switched around. Cobra say they've made the face of this driver a little bit more robust, and they've updated their hot face design. This is basically Cobra saying that across their face they've got multiple sweet spots to deliver a little bit more speed and consistency of spin. It's just a solid driver all round. So now we are on to the end of the scale and the best driver for high handicaps, and we have brought back the tailor-made QI10, this time the max version. So there are a few different drivers that I could have put in here, but what I'm after is high levels of forgiveness, high levels of launch. Overall, we just need help.
We need your help!
So what TaylorMade have done here, it's pretty simple. They've put as much carbon in this driver as humanly possible. They've put it on the top, they've put it in the face, they've put it on the bottom, and they've probably put it several other places as yet unexplored. Then they've whacked this huge anvil of a weight in the back of the club head. Now this is designed to increase MOI and pull the center of gravity right back in the head. Another driver with the 10K moniker, so you know it's going to be forgiving. For me, it's just the ease at which this gets up into the air. And it's at this level where, to be honest, we just want as much help as humanly possible. Centered strikes are not a guarantee, or let's face it, at times, even a possibility. That one's good though. Oh my God. We don't have to talk about how this is 99 feet downhill. So what do you think about my choices? And if you want more information on the drivers that have been released this year, check these videos out here.